Okay, let's unpack this. When you picture major cities in South Asia,
Yeah.
you might immediately think of um, vibrant, sometimes overwhelming energy, a beautiful kind of chaos, perhaps.
hmm
But the material you shared paints a really distinct portrait of Pakistan's capital, Islamabad.
Yeah, it does.
Right away, it's described with words like serene, planned, and beautiful, highlighting its reputation for cleanliness
Uh-huh.
and, well, its stunning natural surroundings.
And that's immediately fascinating, isn't it? Because it positions Islamabad as something quite different right from the outset.
Oh.
The sources emphasize that this isn't a city that just, grew organically.
Yeah.
Its identity is rooted in its deliberate creation.
Exactly. So consider this your deep dive into what makes Islamabad unique,
Mm.
using the material you've provided as our guide.
Right. Our mission is to distill the essential insights from these pages to understand the story behind its design, its reported lifestyle, that blend of nature and culture,
Mm.
and ultimately why the material suggests people find it such an appealing place to live.
All right, let's start at the beginning, setting the scene based on the information. It was founded in the 1960s,
Yeah.
specifically taking over the role of capital from Karachi.
And this fact is key because it explains so much about its character. The material makes it clear this was a deliberate national project.
Okay.
And critically, it's a master planned city.
Right.
Planned. The architect behind that initial plan was the Greek expert Konstantinos Doxiadis.
Subsidiaries, okay.
And being master planned, the sources imply, means it was designed with organization in mind from day one, clear zoning.
Zoning, like residential, commercial.
Exactly. Zoning for different areas and infrastructure built in ahead of massive growth. It's a city conceived on paper, really, before it took shape on the ground.
And its placement seems just as intentional. The material locates it right at the foot of the Margala Hills,
Beautiful location.
which are part of the Himalayan foothills. Plus, it has its own administrative status, listed as the Federal Capital Territory, or ICT.
Yeah, the ICT. Now, one of the strongest themes running through the source material is the connection to nature. It really comes through.
You can see that.
The Margala Hills aren't just a scenic backdrop, they form a national park offering hiking trails.
Right.
And the sources even mention the presence of rare wildlife and extensive greenery right there, accessible from the city.
This is where that planned integration really shines, isn't it? The material highlights specific natural spots, like Damidi Ko,
The
a
viewpoint.
viewpoint offering panoramic city views, and Rawal Lake.
Yes, Rawal Lake.
It notes that Rawal Lake is actually a man-made reservoir, but it serves as a popular spot for things like boating, picnics,
Sunsets, yeah. Classic spot.
or just watching the sunset.
And the green character extends citywide, according to the sources. They talk about clean air, well-kept parks.
Which ones?
Like Fatima Jinnah Park and the Rose and Jasmine Garden, widespread green belts, and tree-lined roads. The implication is that this isn't merely cosmetic. It directly contributes to the city's reputation for being serene and promoting a healthy lifestyle.
That makes sense. Moving from the environment to the people, the sources describe the city's culture as a blend cosmopolitan yet conservative. How does the material explain that mix?
Well, it attributes the diversity to people migrating to the capital from all over Pakistan, bringing with them a variety of ethnic traditions.
Okay, so a real melting pot.
Exactly. The material specifically mentions influences from Punjabi, Pashtun, and Kashmiri cultures, among others. This constant influx naturally creates that mix.
And alongside that, it details the linguistic landscape. While Urdu is the official language and English is widely used,
Yeah, English is common.
the sources also list Punjabi and Pashto as language you'll hear.
Yes, and it clearly articulates this interplay between tradition and modernity.
How so?
While Islamic traditions are dominant and, deeply ingrained, the material also states that a modern lifestyle is very present, particularly highlighted in certain sectors like F6, F7, and F11. It suggests a kind of duality where tradition and contemporary life coexist.
Interesting. The material also gives us a peek into the cultural scene, listing things like art galleries,
PNCA is mentioned.
mentioning the Pakistan National Council of Arts, music festivals, and literary events as part of what the city offers.
Yeah,
It seems a planned city doesn't necessarily mean a sterile one.
exactly. And if we look at the landmarks the sources point to, you see this mix reflected.
Okay, like what?
They highlight the Faisal Mosque as the largest mosque in Pakistan, noting its striking architecture.
Very iconic.
And that it was funded by Saudi Arabia.
So there's the Pakistan Monument, which the material describes as symbolizing national unity
We're at Chakraparian.
and being located at Chakraparian.
The Luck Versa Museum is listed as a key place to see Pakistan's cultural heritage, showcasing crafts, music, traditions.
Got it. Heritage.
And then Saidpur Village offers a different kind of historical view. It's described as a picturesque spot with old temples, cafes, art spaces.
Oh, wow. Like stepping back in time?
Sort of, yeah, giving a sense of a more traditional past, but still very much alive.
It's interesting how you go from national symbols and museums straight to a centuries-old village still integrated into the city landscape.
It is quite a contrast.
And then shift gears again to the thoroughly modern. The Centaurus Mall, for instance, is pointed out as a major contemporary shopping and entertainment hub.
Yep, the big mall experience. And the material mentions Monal Restaurant, located up on Pir Sohawa Road.
Ah, the one with the views.
That's the one, specifically noting its fame for both its food and, yeah, those incredible scenic views over the city.
Hmm.
On the more formal side, the Parliament House and Supreme Court are listed as central political and judicial buildings.
Right, the government centers.
Even the luxury hotels like the Serena and Marriott are mentioned, with a note about their cultural aesthetics.
So quite a range.
It's quite a range, isn't it? From ancient to modern, cultural to governmental, it covers a lot of ground.
That variety seems to extend directly into shopping and food as well. The material details the modern mall experience,
Centaurus, Safa Gold.
with places like Centaurus, Safa Gold Mall, and Gigral, but also make sure to mention the local market's supermarket in F6, Jinnah Super in F7,
Right, the Markaz areas.
and the Itwar Bazaar, which you said means Sunday Bazaar.
Yeah, the weekly market. And the food scene is described as a broad mix, covering everything from traditional Pakistani desi food
Of course.
to continental, Turkish, Chinese, and fast food options.
So lots of choice.
Definitely. The sources even get specific, naming famous eateries like Savor Foods, known particularly for its pulao,
Ah, Savor Pula, yes.
chaya kana for tea and snacks, and burning brownie for dessert.
So good.
This level of specific detail about popular spots really brings the descriptions to life, It gives you tangible places the material points to.
Yeah, it does. And of course, with all that nature around, getting outdoors is a major part of the lifestyle the sources describe.
Absolutely central, it seems.
They list specific hiking trails, like Trail 3, 5, and 6.
Very popular trails.
Mention cycling and running tracks and highlight opportunities for birdwatching and picnicking.
And the material briefly touches on the climate, noting chilly winter mornings and mist, and the beauty of spring blooms.
So good weather for being outside.
Yeah, suggesting these weather patterns facilitate year-round outdoor activities. It loops back to that core theme of easy access to nature.
Got it. One point that comes across very strongly in the sources is the city's reputation for safety and organization.
That's emphasized.
It's described as one of the safest and most organized cities in Pakistan.
And crucially, the material links this directly to its cleanliness.
Right, low pollution mentioned.
It explicitly states that Islamabad has low pollution compared to other major cities like Lahore or Karachi.
And why is that, according to the sources?
Well, they attribute this significantly back to that initial planning we discussed. The strong emphasis on zoning, maintaining green spaces, and building robust infrastructure.
So the planning pays off in that sense.
That's the argument presented. The planning isn't just about layout. It's presented as the foundation for its perceived quality of life, including safety and cleanliness.
The material also points out its role as a major center for institutions.
Yeah, hub.
It lists several universities, including Quaid-e-Azam University, NUIST, International Islamic University, and ComSats,
Top universities.
alongside embassies, government ministries, and international NGOs. Makes sense for a capital.
Exactly. And wrapping up, the sources provide some quick facts. An urban population of around 1.2 million.
Okay, not huge by megacity standards.
Relatively no.
Okay.
A climate summary: hot summers, cold winters, monsoon rains, and transport options like the metro bus system, wide roads, and ride-hailing apps like Careem and Uber.
Standard stuff there.
Pretty much. So looking at these details and everything else we've covered, what do you take away about its overall appeal based on this material?
For me, what ties it all together and what the material summarizes as the key reasons people love living there. Well, it's things like the peaceful and serene lifestyle, the sense that it's excellent for families and students, that unparalleled access to nature right within the city limits,
That's a big one.
and the cleanliness and greenery that the sources claim are unmatched in most of South Asia. It brings us back to that initial impression, A deliberate contrast.
Yeah, a contrast to the typical image of a busy South Asian metropolis. The material presents Islamabad as a city where order, nature, and a specific quality of life were prioritized in its very design,
Right from the start.
creating a unique urban environment.
So we've journeyed from its origins as a planned capital at the foot of the Himalayas through its nature, culture, landmarks, and practicalities,
Hmm.
all filtered through the lens of the material you provided.
And hopefully, this deep dive has given you a concise but insightful understanding of this intriguing capital city.
Definitely. So here's a thought to leave you with, something to consider based on this picture the sources paint.
Okay.
How does a city that was essentially built from zero, according to a modern blueprint with strict planning and zoning, manage to simultaneously feel like a place with genuine cultural depth, integrated nature, and a vibrant mix of traditional life?
That's a good question.
What does it take to balance intentional urban design with the more organic elements of community and even history, like that old Saidpur village nestled within it?
It's a fascinating puzzle, the soul of a city that was entirely conceived before it existed. How does that really develop?
Definitely something to mull over.